Everyone talking about 5 types of fragrances for people with sensory processing issues, whether that's related to autism, Aspergers, or not the spectrum at all, maybe. There's all different kinds of reasons people can have sensory processing issues. For example, that can be, overstimulated by noise or touch or smell or sight, just so many different things. So I thought this might be a good one to do, maybe a little bit more unique list than usual. Just jump right in. Ones with low projection. And I mean this in the sense of even within your own scent bubble, because that doesn't mean anything, low projection in terms of like, oh, well, it's not going to blast out to everybody else. Like maybe that's respecting other people's sensory issues, but in terms of your own, if you get one with low projection, and there are so many of this because people love to complain about stuff having low projection. So many scents are like this. Say that, you spray it. If you get the right one, you won't be able to smell it unless you put your wrist to your nose, so that way you can feel good. Like maybe it helps you just feel confident. I know for me sometimes it does, to just know that you're wearing a scent that you really like, even if you can't smell it at that exact moment, or whoever's around you can't smell it. And then you can also, when you feel like it and in small doses, smell it, for a boost of excitement, energy, like whatever you're getting from that, or just like, oh, like a nice sensation. Then you won't be having that bubble around you all the time, but you can still experience it. 2, kind of in a similar vein, ones with low longevity. That way, say, you spray it, even if it does have some more projection, it's going to go away quickly enough that it's not as likely to be kind of triggering some of the overstimulation issues or other sensory stuff. And those are easy to find as well. There's ratings on Fragrantica, the fragrance database or whatever, where you can see how people rank stuff with longevity, and you can look at ones like, oh, okay, people rated this really low longevity. Check the comments, search for longevity. There's so many out there that are very, very low longevity. And of course, probably goes without saying, but the combination of those previous 2, low projection and low longevity, could also work really well for this. 3, ones with relaxing notes like lavender or whatever relaxes you. I mean, lavender, chamomile, stuff like that is known for having relaxing, properties in general. So that's not just by taste. Like there really is some science to do with that, although maybe not with the fake lavender that some fragrances are doing or whatever. But yeah, maybe there's something else that isn't known to be relaxing, but for you it's comforting and relaxing. Find one that has that as like one of the dominant notes in it, so that instead maybe you're in an environment where you're going to be overstimulated, and then you can kind of smell that and it just can help relax you. 4, skin scents. And what that is basically considered to be like your skin but better. A lot of them are just kind of one note, like musk, or sometimes even like ambroxan, iso, e-super, but there's also ones that are a little bit different too and have a little bit more going on. And I'll do a list at some point of like the top 5 best skin scents out of the ones I've tried, but here's an example of one. Nemat oil, amber oil. This just small roller ball or whatever, you can put it wherever you want, and if you only apply a little, you won't be smelling it all over. But even if you are, that's not, I already talked about ones with low projection and longevity. What I mean by the skin scent part is that then it's not going to smell too different from your skin. Instead, it just kind of makes like, oh, you just smell naturally clean and good and nice, but it's not going to be as stimulating as something that smells like raspberry or oud or like a million other things, because it just kind of blends really well with your skin and just sort of smells natural in that sense. 5, ones that help you focus. There are some notes, if they're using real essential oils or whatever type of, rosemary absolute, peppermint absolute, like things like that in it, that are medically like proven to have some focusing properties. Clearly I need some right now. But again, this could be something like what I said with the relaxation one, where maybe there's something that just helps you feel focused. Doesn't matter if it's scientifically this or that. If it's one that okay, this helps me get in the zone, whether you're doing anything from like studying, taking a test if you're in school or something, being at work on a big project, doing something for fun, anything, just something when you want to focus and you want to kind of tune out a little bit more of some of the sensory stuff going on around you. You can wear one that has those notes that kind of do that for you. And you can combine stuff on this list, obviously. So you could get one that has notes that help you focus and that has low longevity or low projection, or vice versa. Like you can kind of mix and match most of these categories. So that way, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it gives you like a point to focus on. And kind of like with meditation, how people are focusing on the breath, this would, the olfactory version of that, almost like a scent that you can just kind of go back to, help you focus and stay grounded because it has whatever kind of notes you like. There's also ones, if you Google it, there are specific ones made for that purpose too. But what I would recommend is just trying different stuff and seeing what brings that feeling out in you instead of just getting one of the generic ones. And those are the 5 things. But one other thing I want to mention that could be relevant here is that fragrances come in so many forms. So people often forget, including me when I'm not really thinking about it, it's not just a sprayable perfume. There is roller balls, there's sprays, there's other forms of perfume oil, dabbers. It's not, so say that sprays are too overwhelming for you, especially if it like leaves that in the air, or you don't want it all over your shirt and you want more like neutral territory. You could get the rollerball type and just, whatever, like apply exactly where you want it. And that smells good. And then not worry about the spray issue. It could even be something like you don't like the sound of the spray. That's a thing. I mean, people have all different kinds of sensory triggers, so it could be something like that. The feel of the bottle, whatever. Like, there's different kinds. On the other hand, maybe you don't like the feel of the rollerball and you want a spray, or maybe you want a perfume oil that you can just kind of like, do some droplets on it and stuff. So I encourage anybody who really likes fragrance or like wants to be into it, but feels like, well, I can't because this or that reason of this, to kind of play around a little bit and see if maybe you can find a way that it works for you. I know for me, like I've definitely had issues. I often prefer ones that have not huge projection longevity, especially also I get migraines. So when I was first getting into fragrance, I was like, oh man, like this sucks. Like I don't want to give up on this. But then I kind of found what worked for me with what I can wear that doesn't do that, or just, kind of some of the other stuff on this list works for me too. So hope this was helpful, or at least interesting if anybody made it this far. And if you have any particular ones or other ideas, feel free to obviously chime in the comments, or let me know kind of if you have a favorite scent that fits one of these categories.